Welcome back to
Infinity
Wealth.
You're getting spoiled this weekend, mate. 3 videos on the trot.
I know. And we're changing the format. Aren't we? So rather than just me talking about property, I think, Kiki, you've had some people reach out to you and you've got some questions as well.
Yeah.
I think that will be quite good, because then, I'm sure you guys at home have got questions as well. So listen in, and Kiki's going to, I don't know what questions you got, mate, but fire away.
Yeah. Well, this
Come
is
on, then.
isn't it? You have to be like ready on your toes to answer these questions.
I am.
So just a note first. If you want to ask any questions and even like what some of our followers have already done, just drop them in either the comments below, or you can email them at info@infinitywealth.me. And obviously the same drill. Before we get into this video, remember to press the like button, smash the like button, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, press the bell icon. And if you don't smash the like button, the way the algorithm works is YouTube won't show our videos in the feed, so make sure you do that. And yeah, super. So ready to get in? Are you ready, Martin?
I am. I'm just a bit nervous. Wow, what's going on, man? Kiki asking me questions.
Cool. We'll don't worry. I'll start off with some easy ones.
Oh, you'll be gentle, will you, mate?
No, actually, I don't think it's that easy, to be honest. Okay, cool. So this is
go on.
So actually, this is almost relative to me. So like, imagine my sort of age. I'm doing the stocks, I'm doing all the hot shot stuff. But if I was starting out in property today, where would you recommend I start and why?
Okay. Can I ask how much money you have then? Yeah, because it all depends on how much money you got, right?
Say I have £25,000 in savings.
Okay. All right. And you just want to get into property, yeah?
Yeah, I want to get involved. I've heard it's it's a great market. I know all the wealthy people invest in it. So how do I start? Where do I begin?
Good question. Okay. Good question. All right. First of all, area selection, most important. Right, the price that you've got. Yeah, if you can do JVs and you can get angel finance. That's great, Kiki. Right, but at the beginning, don't necessarily expect people. Your parents always will, right? So I can have a little word with your dad. Right.
Cool.
I'm sure I'll say lend him some money. But look, parents are always great for helping their children, because they want their children going forward, because you're young, right?
Yeah.
So I would say to you, the price that you've got as a deposit would determine the area that you can go to, unless you can get some angel financing and do some creative way of doing it that way. Right. So I would then say to you, so let's say you got 25 grand, you probably need to add a little bit, but your figure is going to be around about the £100,000 mark. So property around the £100,000 mark, right? So what I did was basically I went around. I did I live in quite an affluent area, but I did, and I started out years ago. I did a radius, 50-mile radius, anything from within an hour from where I live. I was happy to invest. Obviously, I've got stuff further away now. But I would then say to you, look at areas where that fits your bill. Try to find properties that are distressed in that area, right? So do a comparison. I don't know, if you've had some property training before, then you probably know how to do the numbers. The numbers in property are the most important things that you can ever do, right? And do you know what? It's worthwhile just spending a whole time, because those numbers will be with you for the rest of your life. You know how to work deals out. You know how to do that. It came as a natural to me because of business. I had to constantly do that. So then I would say to you, okay, look at what your rent return is from there. Initially when you're first starting out, lenders are not going to lend to you. So you won't probably be able to go into an HMO, right? There are ways of doing it, JVing with other people. But if you're more realistic, right, your chances are you're going to go into a buy-to-let, right? Before there were more buy-to-let products, there were more lenders looking at first-time people in the HMO market. Now it's not so much like that, right? So then I would look at that sort of thing. And that's what I would do. So Does that answer your question? I mean, I've got loads of other things, but I don't want it to drag on all the time.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Next one. What's your best property business scaling tip or tip?
Okay. That's it. You know what? As a newbie, that's very good. That's a good question. Whoever sent that in, right? Because what you want to try and do, look, one of the things about property is you've never got enough money, right? But if you're doing developments, you're doing this, you're always running low on cash, right? So one of the best scaling tips is how I managed to scale so quickly was to actually buy distressed stuff, right? So you're buying more distressed property where you're adding value into it. Then what you're doing is refinancing that property to pull all your money back and then go on to the next project, right? So someone of your young age, I would say to you, bearing in mind the last question that whoever asked, right, would be, don't just go and buy a ready-made property or a ready-made deal, right? Because at the end of the day, you won't be able to fish your money out. What you're looking for is you have to put some sweat into it, right? You're looking for a property that's going to get you, that you're going to be able to add value and then refinance that to pull as much money out of it as you can. So you're looking for, they call them BMV deals, below market property deals, basically. Now, the climate at the moment, it's not great. You would expect it that it would be easy in this climate, right? Yeah. But it's not, because there's a shortage of properties, right? There's a natural shortage of properties at the moment. Not necessarily new builds, not flats, but certainly other stuff. There's a shortage coming onto the market. And obviously with Brexit, or with all the uncertainty that's going on, people just lapping that up, basically. Yeah. So that's what I say. Buy BMV type deals, and to scale it up is that you're refinancing it, and it's almost like a cookie cutter approach that we use. Yeah. Right? So I keep using the same system. Once you've developed the system, it works. Keep developing it, and then later on you can deviate from that a little bit and go into more adventurous stuff, right?
Yeah.
Then you need to do a mentorship with me, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
Although you've done one.
Yeah, I don't think
that's how we met.
The person what the question is done one, but I've definitely done one.
Yeah. Actually, just write back to him saying, well, you need to do a mentorship with Marttand.
Yeah. Well, if the person's listening in, they will see it here.
Definitely. Give me a call.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So the next one this is a really interesting one, actually.
Okay.
Should I buy a residential property for myself first, or do I get straight in? Do I buy a residential property for myself first, or do I get straight into an investment property?
Okay, good question. I think it very much depends on your age, I think, as well, right? One thing that people have to realize is that an investment property will always give you a return, right? So you're getting an income from it. When it's your own residential home, you get no income. So, if you follow Robert Kiyosaki and everyone else, your home is a liability. I don't truly believe that, but they say your home is a liability because if the roof leaks, you have to fix it. It doesn't pay you an income, so it's more of a liability. Whereas an investment property, because it's paying you an income, it's not a liability, it's an investment, right? But I would also say there is a different way of looking at it. And the different way of looking at it is that you often find people who have their residential houses for some time. They've built up quite a lot of equity in it. It's gone, okay, it's provided a home for them, but it's also gone up in value. So you're able then, if you're in that sort of situation, to refinance your own house, to use that money to buy a rental property. Right? Yeah. So it just goes back to, do you think it's better to do one or the other? I think it depends on who you are, and your house is your pride. A lot of people are very home proud, right? So I think it depends on the individual circumstances. Someone of your age, right? I'd say, well, you should stay at home for a little bit longer and save more money, right? Save more money because you don't necessarily need to move out. Especially in this climate, because I think that prices will come down because of, I know they haven't come down yet, but they are going to come down, right? So if you stay at home, you can save some more money. And then look to buy one later on when the prices have come down. So that's because you were looking for one. But if I was in the same situation, this younger person was there, I'd say, well, stay at home and buy an investment property, live rent free, and make money on the other side, right?
Yeah.
It's becoming more savvy and making your money work harder on that basis. I know that people don't want to live with their parents. Yeah, I know. But short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
Right. Always remember short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah.
So I hope it helps. Do you reckon that helped them?
I think that's a good answer. In a good nutshell.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. What do you think? Okay, so question number 4 is, what do you think about the commercial market? What's going to happen with the commercial properties? Now that a lot of companies are having people working from home, and that they are not actually, many companies are not actually renewing their leases or reducing the amount of space that they're
again, whoever said that, good question, right? Very, very topical. That's great, right? Very topical. Look, one of the things that I read today, right? Arcadia Group, Philip Green, the Arcadia Group, and I've got things about Arcadia because I used to be in textiles, right? That bloke, bane of my life, mate. Bane of my life, I'm telling you. And when he bought BHS, chaos he caused in our industry was mad. Anyway, look, if he goes bankrupt, or Arcadia basically are calling in the receivers because the bank's not there. So this is a big organization. How many? They've got Topshop, Dorothy Perkins. They've got loads and loads of units. Yeah, I'm sure that someone will come in and pick the bits out, or Philip Green will come back and pick the bits out. But all those landlords, all those residential landlords, they're going to be stuck. They haven't been paid the rent before. They're going to be stuffed. So what we're going to find on the commercial side is that, like the person who wrote in, the leases are not going to be renewed. There are lots of companies that are although they've signed a lease. So a classic one is my next door neighbor, who I get on really well with. Her company, she works quite high up in the organization. Her company, they're all working from home until spring next year, but they're still paying their leases because they're able to do a lot of stuff from home. You've got companies that are not able to do that. So there are companies that are able to work from home, still carry on paying the rent. So they're not they're not behind on their leases. Whereas on the other side, you've got people behind on their leases. I think you're going to find more and more the natural trend is going to be that people will not renew their leases, or will just say, I don't need as much office space now because my staff can work from home, and I can reduce my office space. I can increase my margin, right?
Yeah.
As a business owner, I'm sorry, I want to increase my margin.
Yeah.
As long as you do your job, I don't care. I want to increase my margin. So if for X number of square feet, I can go to that. That's great. I'll reduce that, and I'll reduce the number of overheads I've got, which increases my cash flow basically. So it's a brilliant way, but worse for landlords. So I think, when you look at landlords, I think the whole field will change dramatically. The whole field will change dramatically. And I think if you are looking on a investment perspective, you'll see a lot of these things come up, and they'll be showing astronomical yields, right? Don't be fooled by that, right? Because a lot of them, you have to read the fine print in the auction catalogs, because some of them will say that the new owner or purchaser will not receive any of the rent that's outstanding. Or will have to pay the seller the outstanding rent because he hasn't been paid it. So you've got to be, if this is an auction type, and these occur in auctions, so you've got to be very careful of that sort of stuff, right? Very, very careful. So read that. So I think you'll see more of it, Kiki. I think you'll see more distressed assets coming onto the market. And I know that people are already setting up funds And I'm happy to actually look at people who want to set up funds like that of distressed assets. So looking at distressed assets and buying them for a song, because eventually things will come back. I'm not saying they're going to come back overnight, but some of these office spaces may then be used for residential.
That's what my lead-up question was going to be actually. Do you think then the developers would take opportunities and then try to convert those into residential? And on top of that, wouldn't that cost a hell of a lot, because the structures aren't actually made for residential? Like the commercial structures aren't necessarily made. How, like, what does that imply?
Commercial to resi conversion. Yeah, if it's office, a lot of the offices are open plan, right?
Okay.
So it's quite easy to convert them. And as let's say as a owner, you're probably better off on the residential side than on the commercial side. Commercial values are going to drop, right? But the residential values will drop, which we'll talk about. They will drop, but they won't drop as much. And there'll be there is still, because we're not building enough, there's a demand. Where I think the pitfalls are going to be is, with COVID-19, what's happened is that people want more wide open spaces, and just going back to that first question, where would you buy? Families now want to move out of, being in an apartment or in a flat. What they want is just be able to go out in the wide spaces. So you're finding, in my areas and other areas, we've got lots of greenery around. People want to move out to these areas, but they can commute in. And that trend has really gone strong at the moment.
Interesting. Yeah. And the other thought that actually just dawned on me, would that let's assume that, not assume, but let's sort of say a lot of these commercial properties, they do get converted into residential, and that becomes a thing. It becomes a next property trend where people.
It already is, isn't it? It already has been. Yeah. Already has been. Yeah.
Commercial to resi, and then all of a sudden we have will we ever have a problem where all of a sudden see, I'm trying to foresee things here, where we all of a sudden have a lot of
saturation
apartments of like residential apartments, and then you have a weird situation where apartment values are actually not that high, but houses are still retaining their value because they're still
it's happening now. That's very in trend at the moment, Kiki, right? That's actually happening now. If you look at resale, so property prices haven't fallen of houses, but they have a flat. So where I live in North London, Finchley High Road. If you go to Finchley High Road, so many of the buildings were converted from offices to residential, right? And developers are finding it harder to sell flats at the moment than there are houses. So those developments that are houses are selling a lot easier than flats at the moment. Right. And obviously, dynamics are going to change. And this is the great unknown, that dynamics are going to change. Who's going to be working in the city? And that's not just for London. That's not just for London. Right. I mean, did you see, actually, just going off beat and track, did you see that program about Manchester? About I forgot what it's called. It was on Channel 4, I think it was, about developments in Manchester. These guys were developing £1 million penthouses in Manchester and what have you. It'd be interesting to see, and I remember in the financial crisis in 2008 and also 2000, in .com, and there was a recession. A lot of these flats didn't sell, and they were giving Porsches if you bought their flats. Manchester, I'm just wondering, because it's had a lot of development in flats.
It has.
A lot. So I'm just wondering how that's going to end with what's going on with COVID. I'm just wondering if those markets are going to have a higher setback. But like I say, that with the offset that we've got is we're not building enough, right? We're not building enough, so there is a shortage. But then there's a shortage of certain stocks. Now the demand has gone to houses rather than flats, but there's an oversupply of flats.
Exactly.
There is an oversupply of flats, but houses, good family houses, medium price range of wherever areas you are, there's a shortage. So they're going for far more money than they would have. But the flats, saturation, prices are dropping.
Exactly.
I hope that's answered that question.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, there was good 3 parts to that, so that was good. Okay, cool. This is the last question. What areas you stay away from for whilst investing in property and looking forward?
Is that a newbie? Do you reckon that's a newbie, or do you reckon that's a?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I mean, it could be both for a newbie, but also I guess people that I want to add to the portfolio as well.
Look, logic tells you right now, right? I've got friends who are they're big. When I mean big, I mean massive, right? In property, in London, right? Yeah, they're struggling. They're struggling. They've got commercial, they've got residential, and I talk to them. I used to talk to them every week, but now it's a case of they're busy trying to actually firefight at the moment, right? So what they're doing at the moment is that they've reduced the rents. The rents have gone down in London, right? They've got people not paying them at the moment in London. They can't kick them out. And they've got commercial buildings as well, where people have just said, so these guys, the bigger that you are, the more problems you've got, right? So if you're, going back to that question about where would you stay away from, Goldman Sachs is going to leave the London market, right? Goldman Sachs, an investment bank, a lot of the investment banks are moving their staff to Europe because of Brexit at the moment. Do you know what? It's the last thing that we bloody well need. I'll tell you now. I wish I could have a one-on-one with Boris and send him in a room and say, mate, here's a whiskey. Look, we're going to talk this out and you're going to change your mind, right? Because I know that we opted out. I know we did this, but you've got to come to some sort of sense now. Right? And you've got to convince the Europeans as well. Let's get them drunk. Come to an arrangement, right? Come to Marttand's house. We'll have a really expensive bottle of Macallan. And we'll sort it out, mate. We'll sort it out. But yeah, so I think the fear for me would be the London market, right? The great unknown is the shopping, Arcadia going under, a lot of the retail. We have not seen bankruptcy yet. We've not even seen the start of it yet, right? The start of it will be next year. Furlough loans going out, right? All the additional help going out. Then you're going to see a massive rise in bankruptcies, right? And you're going to begin to see empty units. And that's what's going to suppress prices at that time, right? So I would say, you're saying, where would I stay away from? I would probably stay away. And all my mates, they're not interested in a deal, right? None of them are interested in a deal. None of them, right? So I hope that answers everyone's question, Kiki. But that London would be the area that I would stay away from. And major city centres, I would stay away from those at the moment. I would look, if I was still wanting to buy in property, I would look at secondary high street to convert some of the commercial buildings, right? Back into a residential apartment or something like that. But that's going to flats. And like I said, we discussed that. I think there'll be a saturation of flats, right? So that's where I'll be careful. But where I would be looking is basing on what's going on and trending right now, that people want to go out further from the city. So I'd look at surrounding areas in the city with good commuter links into town, basically. So I hope that's answered all the questions. But one thing, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. So it's been good. It's been good rather than me just talking to a camera. Maybe I need to get a new assistant who's better looking. I'm not sure. But
Good one.
I'm joking with you, mate. I'm joking with you.
You're jealous of the beard. That's what it is.
I am. Well, my beard will be bloody grey, mate. I'd be Santa Claus.
No, it's been good. I think obviously our audience enjoys this as well, because again, it's very natural. It's very free flowing. So, guys, if you've got questions, again, thank you so much for the people that submitted these questions in. If you've got questions, either drop them in the comments or email us at info@infinitywealth.me. And again, don't forget to share this video,
please subscribe. And remember, we do a stocks and shares one midweek, and then we do a property one at the weekend, because we are about investment and developing your wealth, right?
Exactly. There we go. So until next week then, guys.
Yeah. All right. Speak to you soon, and let us know what you think about the format as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty
If you
sure.
like it, yeah, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up anyway, but make a comment.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Listen,
Awesome.
take it easy. Speak to you guys soon. Yeah. Right.
Awesome.
Bye.
Okay.